Here again.
104.7 The K, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream.
We made it another day.
We made another day, another documentary. I made Jay work hard to find this one.
What episode number is this?
Episode 83.
I'm just curious when we hit the
Hundo
centennial.
I think you'll, as long as we keep going in the order we're going, you'll be the one that has
I
the
bet I
Hundo.
pick a real winner.
No, that's going to be a while. Probably
towards the middle of
I
the
should
year.
probably clean this food off.
Yeah, that's where Jay
that's where
eats
Jay
in the
eats
morning,
in the
and it stays there. And then
like a
I think
buffet.
Mark comes in and he's like, "What
Mystery
the hell
buffet
is
every
this?
day.
Mike, what is this on the mic?"
Oh,
Dad
Dad gets my
my bad,
glitter, and
my
then
bad.
Dad gets my glitter.
So this week was my turn. And it was the documentary about Hillsong and the controversies they faced out of that church and really mega church and brand. And we'll get into that.
Mike's taking us to church this morning.
He's taking us to church.
I'm worried. Watch for lightning.
And if like just right out of the gate, I try very hard on this station to not talk politics or religion. But this Dark Side of the Stream, we talk about documentaries, and sometimes we are going to talk about politics and religion. So if you're a very religious person, I'm going to give you a little disclaimer here. I'm not talking trash on Christianity. I'm not talking trash on your faith,
Here's
your
where the
religion,
complaint phone calls
God, any of that stuff at all. Your belief in what you do is your choice. If that makes you a better person, that's awesome. I don't care if you believe in God, a spaghetti monster, or the rock in your backyard. If you use that faith to make you a better person, do it.
We're cool with
That's
that.
great. Now, if you use that faith to corrupt people, to steal money from those people, to abuse people, whether it's verbally, emotionally, sexually, you're garbage. Whatever faith it is, Christianity, Islam.
Some of these religions have a bad rap.
Bad people are bad people. Okay. Now we're talking about the documentary about Hillsong. And if you are a religious person and you do go to church every week, chances are you probably know who Hillsong is or the songs that they release. Because I've heard this many times now. I'm not a church-going person, so I do not go to church on Sunday. I'm sorry, but I don't. I'm not going to lie to you.
No one.
But I have heard.
Did, I think.
No, I don't think anyone did. But I have heard by many accounts that if you go into any church, especially bigger churches in this country, chances are you will hear a Hillsong in that service. A Hillsong song in that service, which is crazy. Now, what you might not know, Hillsong got its start out of Australia, which I didn't know that. I'd heard of Hillsong, but it wasn't until this documentary that I got to find out kind of where they started and how this thing got pushed out and how it became a massive brand marketing. Jay, do you think you should be able to refer to a church in a brand in the same thing?
Well,
do you think that's what God wants?
I don't know about that, but I will say that there are several churches that I see in this area that are brands, 100% they're brands.
They're brands. A little scary, don't you think?
And there's probably a lot of money coming through that.
Oh, brother, there's a lot of money. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Jay's introduction to the Bible Belt when he came to town years ago. We'll get his thoughts. Next side of the stream. We're already going there anyway, man. We'll get to it more next time on 104.7. .7 K, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Is Dark Side of the Stream discussing the documentary that's been making the rounds on Discovery Plus about Hillsong. It is a very, very incredible documentary. If you want to get angry about people getting taken advantage of, people with strong, faithful convictions.
After watching some documentaries about churches and about cults and stuff, I think I'd be a pretty good, to run one of these things, or to be like I've got that charismatic personality. I'm good at tricking people, and good at people.
I'm good at tricking people.
People go along with what I say. I mean, it's like I tell them I'm the best, and they go, "Yeah, that guy's the best." I'd be probably, if I would have taken a different path in life, I probably could have had a good gig, man.
We do Jay's employee review here in a couple months, and one of the lines is definitely going to say bullet point, good at tricking people.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Now we know why Jay always picks these documentaries, at least the last several he's picked have been about schemes and scammers and guys that, in my opinion, dude, there's no different. There's really no different than what those, like the Tinder Swindler did, the Bad Vegan guy
and
did,
some of these bad
and what these people do in religion, especially evangelical stuff and Pentecostal stuff. It sucks, but it's a fact. I mean, people get taken advantage of. If you go in Wikipedia, Hillsong, just in general, there is an entire section of the controversies that this church faced. And it's a ton of stuff, And we'll get into that in a minute. But before we do that, I wanted Jay's perspective because I was born in Joplin. I didn't like grow up here. I didn't move back here until I was in high school, but like I'm very familiar with this part of the country, the Bible Belt, if you will. Jay, California dude, Hawaiian dude, kind of went West Coast. Was your family religious at all?
No, my aunt, my dad's sister, her husband was a preacher. But it was like some hippie commune place, like
in California.
Yeah, this is back in the late 70s, early 80s.
They were Christians, but they were getting stoned.
Yeah, running around, no clothes on and stuff like that. It could have been a cult. It could have been a cult. I don't know. So they're pretty churchy. My dad was not very churchy at all. He was Hollywood, running around, sleeping with everybody. So he was like sheep more, and so I followed that path, And so when I go to visit my aunt and uncle, they'd obviously like try to preach to me, but I was doing what I was doing. And, so when I moved here, this is my experience with seeing these mega churches. Like, I mean, James River. I go there for like Easter or Christmas thing just to see the production. Amazing, like incredible, full house, pyro, LED screen.
Bands,
I'm like, I told the missus at the time, the former missus, I told her, man, I should get a gig singing over here because every night you're playing to a full house, full production. She goes, you would get struck by lightning.
It's funny you say that. There is also in Houston, Texas, a ton of mega churches, including Hillsong, actually. But one of my favorite bands, Strong Band, two of the guys that pretty much made the band found each other as hired guns for a church. They started talking about the music they were into, started performing like sidebar gigs, and now that band is arguably one of the most popular independent bands right now.
And Striper, big church band.
Striper, yeah. And again, we'll go back to what I said at the beginning. I'm never going to dog anything that makes you a better person.
I did sense that. I did sense the massive energy of positivity in there. Like everybody, like a sense of community.
And that's good.
Which that's all good stuff. Yeah. And if that's where you get it, awesome. That's as long as it's working for you, perfect. My sense of community is a different group, but it's like whatever helps you be a better person, like Mike said.
I don't care what it is.
100% on board.
It starts to get a little money when you start talking about all this money coming in
and touching.
That's a whole other thing with Hillsong. But like they were busted for taking grants that were supposed to go back out to the community, and they went to salaries. That's a great example.
They're still just humans. They're just people, and
you need to look at the whole picture and say, well, if I'm tithing here. Are you guys helping feed the homeless? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you getting kids off the street? A lot of times
I'm tithing in my '97 Corolla, and the pastor's rolling deep in a BMW series.
I mean, that's an issue, and it's been an issue in religion since day one, since the early days of Catholicism. The whole idea of the property going back to the church was because all of these properties, the church, early Catholics found out, like, you know what? When the dad dies, instead of that castle or land or stuff going back to the wife or the son, it goes back to the church. And that's how it's been going on for exploiting people for the sake of religion has been going on since the beginning. So it's not just a Christian thing. It's not just a Judaism thing or Catholic thing or whatever. If there is money to be made and the human element is involved, eventually
some guys are going to bend the rules.
It's going to go bad. And that's what we're talking about today. Hillsong, next Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7. The K, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio discussing Hillsong on this 83rd episode of Dark Side of the Stream. Now, let's talk into some of these controversies. We did mention that money went missing, and not really missing. They just said, hey, we're going to use this for grants and stuff, but then it actually just went to, salaries. The biggest one, in my opinion, was the sexual abuse allegations by a bunch of boys who were part of this church when they got their start in the 60s and 70s. When it started, It was about 45 members. They grew to nearly 20,000 based on the area of contemporary worship music. It just went like that in marketing because they were marketing themselves to a younger generation of Christians, the hip, cool church thing, and it just blew up. And it blew up. And like I mentioned, chances are, if you go to a service, they're singing a Hillsong in there. Now, their founder, it was alleged that he abused a bunch of boys who then grew up and made allegations later on that they were victims of sexual assault by the founder, Frank Houston, when they were little. At the time, Frank had nothing to do with
these guys always bunch of boys.
I do. It's like repression. It's projection.
I don't think there's anything in the Bible about that.
No, there's not.
Don't they frown upon this in the
Bible?
Bible?
They do. And the other thing is, it's projection. And what I mean by that is, a lot of time when a certain individual is super against something, like if you're in a relationship and the girl's like, you're going to cheat.
You're cheating. She's out there getting dumb.
You've never given her a reason. You've never looked at another girl. You've never been caught calling or talking or hooking up. You literally have been like, what are you talking about? Chances are that
how relationships go.
Dude.
I've never talked to the girl. I don't know all the girls. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm going to back out of this conversation.
Better not get in that pool. But the point is, if someone's out there saying, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, and they're super aggressive about it, chances are they're projecting something.
You know what they say?
Like, there's no way they'd ever look at me to do it because I'm so against it.
I'm going to drop another wisdom quote. You know what they say? When you're pointing at somebody, your fingers are pointing back at you.
True, and again, it's projection, and that's kind of what happened. Now, the reason the son got into trouble with this was because they knew about these allegations and stuff like as far back as the 90s. He didn't say anything because he said that some of the victims claimed they didn't want it to be known now that they were adults, which they all kind of said that's BS. He's actually had to step away from Hillsong. It's been rebranded because, again, it's been marketed in marketing, and now it's got a bad brand because of all this controversy that's starting to come to light. It just blows my mind that we're actually using the terms marketing in church in the same. Now, again, the spreading the gospel, spreading the word is in a sense a form of marketing. But there's different ways to go about it, man. At least in my opinion. We'll get our thoughts and how many Bible reviews we give this.
This one
on Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7. Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, working on our own campaign.
I got my own marketing scale. I'm telling you, I can start my church. Hey, I'll start small. I'll have the best band in town in my church.
Yeah, dude, you can wake up, like going straight from the show to the church.
Dude, we'll just leave the show. We'll take the trailer to the church, the warehouse where we have our church, set the band up.
Mascara's coming down his face before he's like, all right, let's talk about God.
Mimosas, we'll have mimosas.
And then
I'll preach a little bit, and then I'll pass around the offer. Machine Gun 70 will play, and I'll pass around the hat. And,
we've been skating a fine line because we, again, don't want to dog anyone's religion here. But again, the when you get into the point of this that I want to make is that sometimes when these things get so big, you really got to take a hard, long look about what it is that you're promoting, what it is you're a part of, and what part of there's no harm in saying that I was raised this way, but now I don't feel this way. Yeah. I was raised as a Methodist. I went so far into confirmation to where I felt like I didn't agree with what was being taught to me. When I brought it up to the pastor, we had a very bad argument, and I walked out.
He should have had a nice conversation with you there.
By the way.
She. So now she was.
I wasn't. Again, it comes back to what I've always said about religion. If you really, and I read a lot about this stuff, man. If you really look down at the bottom line, they're all saying the same thing. Be a cool dude or a chick. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's it.
Think, wasn't
Be
that
a
like,
cool dude.
Don't
lie. Don't steal. Now all the other things that happen beyond
don't
that.
sleep with thy neighbor.
Yeah, all that other stuff. Whatever it is, that's where it starts to get muddy, and you get all these other things. But at the bottom line is this, and my firm belief has always been: if I die today and I go up to heaven, and there is a heaven, and
you're pretty sure you're pretty sure that's the route you're going.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you get judged, right? Everyone gets judged according to this. If I get judged, I can't, for the life of me,
I'll vouch for you, Mike. I'll go. He's a good dude.
I appreciate it.
Not so much.
But I want you to understand if you are a good person, regardless of what you believe in your heart, if you are a good person, you have that in your heart your whole life. I can't for life of me think God would say no.
No,
You say that words, but you lived your life so good. You were good to your family. You were good to your friends. You helped out everywhere you can. You didn't steal. You're
We are gonna get
that's what it comes down to. If you really do want to be upset about big mega churches, watch the Hillsong documentary. I'll give it a four.
I give it a 3.5 Bible thumbs.
He gives it 3.5.
Well, I just get mad when people start messing with kids.
That will obviously, yeah, dude. But you know,
And knocked out some Bible thumbs.
time and time again, it all comes back to sometimes, unfortunately, churches. Not to say that churches are the only ones involved and stuff like that, but
Sure is a lot.
we've talked about it a few times on this podcast. More times than
Yeah,
I
we have more times than we should be doing, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
anyway,
turn.
Your turn.
My turn for the next week's pick.
Yeah.
Next week's pick, we are going to expose more corruption, and this time in a very roundabout way in the stock market. We are going to watch Gaming Wall Street.
Gaming Wall
It's
Street.
about the whole AMC GameStop thing, the nerds in their basement.
I read it and all that stuff.
Well,
Okay.
and this documentary goes, and it takes one of those crazy turns, man. So it's a good one. It's a good one.
So basically, one guy made a lot of money. Everyone else.
Well, but also, but it exposes, and now they've exposed on Wall Street. It's actually being now.
Issues on Wall Street.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that the people on Capitol Hill get to go and
Oh,
gamble
no.
on money. Yeah,
Why
that's
is it?
a lot
All
of
right,
stuff.
here we go. Gaming Wall Street. It's on HBO Max. It's on
Next week.
HBO Max.
I can't wait. Gaming Wall Street, your homework for this episode of Going Time to Stream.
Be a good person.
That's it. Amen. I'm Mike the Intern. This is the Talent Stevens reminding you. We watch
documentaries,
so you don't have to. It's outside of the stream on 104.7 The K.